Join me as I take on the challenge of designing mind-blowing micro-interactions that will change the game in 2024. Micro-interactions are the subtle animations and effects that occur when we interact with digital products. They're the loading animations, the button effects, the scrolling behaviors, and the countless other tiny elements that make our digital experiences feel more human. And the reason they're so important is that they have the power to enhance user engagement and satisfaction in a way that few other design elements can. Think about it, when a website or app is well designed, we barely even notice the micro-interactions. We just know that it feels smooth, it feels natural, and it feels enjoyable to use. And that's because the micro-interactions are working behind the scenes to create an experience that's both intuitive and delightful. But what's really amazing about micro-interactions is that they have the power to elevate our emotional state. When we use a digital product that's been carefully crafted with micro-interactions in mind, we start to feel a sense of pleasure, a sense of satisfaction, and even a sense of joy. And that's because micro-interactions tap into our deep-seated desire for emotional resonance in the products we use. Micro-interactions are like the secret ingredient in your favorite recipe. They're the magic that happens when you combine just the right amount of design, technology, and psychology to create an experience that's truly unforgettable. Designers face a unique set of challenges when it comes to creating effective micro-interactions. One of the biggest challenges is user distraction. When micro-interactions are too flashy or too prominent, they can actually detract from the overall user experience. Imagine using an app that's just too busy, too flashy, or too overwhelming. It's like trying to have a conversation in a crowded restaurant. Another challenge designers face is the lack of feedback. When we interact with digital products, we need to know that our actions are having an effect. We need to feel like we're in control, and that the product is responding to our inputs. Without feedback, we start to feel frustrated, anxious, and even a little bit lost. Designers also struggle with the issue of consistency. When micro-interactions are inconsistent across a product or platform, it can create a sense of disorientation. Imagine using a website that has different loading animations on every single page. It's like trying to navigate a maze with no clear exit. Micro-interactions can also be culturally specific, which means that what works in one culture or region might not work in another. Designers need to be aware of these cultural differences and adapt their micro-interactions accordingly. Another challenge is accessibility. Micro-interactions need to be designed with accessibility in mind, so that everyone can use and enjoy digital products, regardless of their abilities. And then there's the issue of performance. Micro-interactions need to be optimized for performance, so that they don't slow down the overall user experience. Imagine using an app that's just too slow, too clunky, or too resource-intensive. It's like trying to drive a car with the brakes on. Designers also need to consider the emotional state of the user. When we're using digital products, we're often in a state of flux, we're stressed, we're anxious, or we're distracted. Micro-interactions need to be designed with empathy in mind, so that they can help to soothe and calm the user. Micro-interactions can also be used to create a sense of anticipation. Think about it, when we know that something is about to happen, we start to feel a sense of excitement, a sense of anticipation. And that's because our brains are wired to respond to patterns and rhythms. Designers need to be aware of the cultural and social norms that surround micro-interactions. What's considered cool or trendy today might be seen as cheesy or outdated tomorrow. Designers also need to balance the level of complexity in micro-interactions. Too much complexity can be overwhelming, while too little can be underwhelming. Micro-interactions need to be designed with user testing in mind. What works in theory might not work in practice, and designers need to be willing to iterate and refine their micro-interactions based on user feedback. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples of successful micro-interactions in popular applications. One of my favorite examples is the login animation in the Netflix app. It's a beautifully designed micro-interaction that creates a sense of anticipation and excitement, even before you've started watching your favorite show. Another great example is the scrolling behavior in the Apple Music app. It's a masterclass in smooth, intuitive design that makes browsing through music a true pleasure. The Facebook-like animation is another great example of a successful micro-interaction. It's a simple yet effective animation that creates a sense of satisfaction and pleasure. The micro-interactions in the Instagram app are also worth noting. From the loading animations to the scrolling behaviors, every single element has been carefully crafted to create a seamless and enjoyable user experience. What I love about these examples is that they're not just visually stunning, they're also deeply functional. They solve real problems, they create emotional resonance, and they elevate the overall user experience in a way that's truly remarkable. So, what's the secret to designing micro-interactions that truly blow your mind? For me, it all comes down to a single principle, the principle of emotional resonance. When we design micro-interactions that resonate with our users on an emotional level, we create an experience that's truly unforgettable. This principle is based on the idea that our emotions drive our behavior, our decision-making, and our overall experience of the world. When we design micro-interactions that tap into these emotions, we create an experience that's truly transcendent. So, how can you apply this principle to your own design projects? One way is to focus on creating micro-interactions that create a sense of anticipation, a sense of excitement, or a sense of joy. Another way is to focus on creating micro-interactions that are deeply empathetic, that understand the user's emotional state, and that respond accordingly. The key is to remember that micro-interactions are not just about visual design, they're about emotional design. They're about creating an experience that resonates with our users on a deep, emotional level. So, what are some key takeaways about micro-interactions that we can apply to our own design projects in 2024? Firstly, we need to remember that micro-interactions are all about emotional resonance. They need to tap into our users' emotions, they need to create a sense of anticipation, excitement, or joy, and they need to be deeply empathetic. Secondly, we need to prioritize consistency, accessibility, and performance. Micro-interactions need to be designed with these principles in mind, so that they can create an experience that's truly seamless and enjoyable. Thirdly, we need to focus on creating micro-interactions that are deeply functional. They need to solve real problems, they need to create emotional resonance, and they need to elevate the overall user experience in a way that's truly remarkable. And finally, we need to remember that micro-interactions are not just about design, they're about psychology, they're about technology, and they're about understanding the user's emotional state. When we combine these elements in a way that's truly innovative, we can create micro-interactions that truly blow our minds. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment below with your favorite micro-interactions, share your design experiences, and suggest topics for future videos.